Thank you very much. Thank you. Please sit down. I want to thank you all for being here. Very special day, very important day. Many of you are friends, and many of you are friends that I don't know what you look like, but I know what you sound like, which I guess is probably more important, right? But I want to thank you, and it's a terrific day to be together. And if you look, you're at a very famous place. We all worked very hard, and I don't know if you call it influence, I don't know if you call it power, but whatever it is, we're in the White House. And we're going to stay in the White House, and we're going to get our agenda done and completed beautifully. Thank you. So I'm thrilled to welcome you here, and we're all working very hard. And I don't know if you know, but we just hit 27,000 on the Dow. That's the highest in history. We're up a couple of hundred points today. The highest in history for those of you that like the stock market, but the stock market means jobs. I view it as jobs. And I view it as 401ks. A lot of people say, oh, the rich people are getting rich. But if you look at the numbers, the greatest impact proportionately is blue-collar workers in what's happened, in this miracle that's happening. And people with 401ks, they're up 72% and 67%. And the wife or the husband, whoever's responsible, the other one says, you're a genius, you're a great financial investor. Darling, you're up 77% this year. So a lot of good things happen. A lot of people are happy, and I think really everybody's happy. Some people just aren't willing to admit it. Does that make sense? So this is a historic day. Never before have so many online journalists and influencers, and that's exactly what you are. You're journalists and you're influencers, come together in this building to discuss the future of social media. Each of you is fulfilling a vital role in our nation. You're challenging the media gatekeepers and the corporate censors to bring the facts straight to the American people, and that's what you're doing. You're going right to the people. Possibly we wouldn't be here right now. I asked somebody, what do you think I'd do without social media? Would I be here? Because I said, I think so. But they weren't so sure. I have to say that, you know that. I'm not sure I believe that, but I have to say it. But you communicate directly with our citizens without having to go through the fake news filter. It's very simple. Together you reach more people than any television broadcast network by far, not even close. We're delighted to be joined at this summit by someone you know very well, our senior advisor for digital strategy and somebody that's been working for me for a long time, for many years, Dan Scavino. Where's Dan? Stand up there. So long before we were even doing this, he was at a club, running a club and other businesses, and he was okay at doing it. Not the greatest. I wouldn't say the greatest, but you know what he was great at? He was always looking at his computer screen. I said, that guy's incredible. So right at the beginning, I said, that's the man. And there was nobody better at that. And I think Hillary had 28 people, and I had Dan. Right? Good. I had my Dan, and he works about 28 hours a day, and he works very hard. But he doesn't work. I mean, he loves it. He loves it. And his imagination and really working with all of you and many of you, he'll come up with ideas, and you'll come up with ideas, and he'll run into my office and you got to see this. And a lot of times I'll go out and I'll spend a lot of money on a concept. I'll say, here's a concept, come up with this, and we'll hire these companies, and they want a lot of money, and they come back. Just happened the other day, right? I said, that's terrible. These guys have no talent. The people that have the talent are the people that we deal with. And it's true. And some of you are extraordinary. I can't say everybody. But some of you are extraordinary. The crap you think of is unbelievable. Unbelievable. So I'm going to go back to the basics of Washington. I'm going to introduce some of my secretaries. Steve Mnuchin. Steve, where's Steve? Steve has done a fantastic job. Wilbur Ross. Wilbur, we have a meeting in a little while on the census and citizenship. Can you believe? Are you a citizen of the United States of America? Sir, you can't ask that question. Why? Because the court said you can't. We have 3 very unfriendly courts. They fight us all the way. The judges don't like us too much, I guess. But think of that, Herman. Think of that question. Are you a citizen? We spend, this is another thing that's so crazy, $20 billion on a census. $20 billion. They spend $20 billion. I said, $20 billion what? $20 billion on a census. They go through houses. They go up. They ring doorbells. They talk to people. How many toilets do they have? How many desks do they have? How many beds? What's their roof made of? The only thing we can't ask is, are you a citizen of the United States? No, is it the craziest thing? $20 billion. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing, Charlie. Also, David Bernhardt, great job you're doing. Interiors, the largest landlord in the United States. When my friends tell me how big they are, they just bought another building. Big deal, Kevin, right? They bought another building. Then I look at David Bernhardt. He controls half of the United States Department of Interiors. A lot of land, a lot of beautiful land that we're taking good care of, David, right? Acting Director Russ Vaught. Russ, thank you. Great job. We're working on our budget. Along with some of the great members of Congress and a wonderful friend of mine who's my leader, right? He's my leader. I tell him that to his face because it makes him feel good. I don't know if I believe that, Marcia. But Kevin, stand up, Kevin. Kevin McCarthy, everybody. Senator Marcia Blackburn of the great state of Tennessee. We campaigned together. And she did, we can say it now, she ran against the most popular Democrat in the last 50 years.
Welcome to the Five. President Trump is wrapping up a social media summit moments ago. He's also set to make a major announcement about the citizenship question live. We're going to bring that to you when it happens, but let's listen in on what he's saying at this social media event, Greg.
And she won by 12. That's right. She was down by 10 and she won by 12, and she wouldn't stop. They just, every day, where is she? She's here, she's there. Fantastic job you did. We're proud of you. Well, thank you, honey. That's great. It was just, honestly, working with people that know what they're doing, it's fun. That was fun, and you know what you're doing. Representative Dan Crenshaw, who is very good at this, by the way, Dan. Very good at this. Really good. Thank you. It's great to have you in the party. And you have more courage than I do, Dan. Okay? That courage of yours is incredible. Thank you very much. Great job. A friend of mine and a wonderful person and somebody that has, I don't know, pretty unlimited future, I'd say. I hear a lot of very positive things. Liz Cheney. Liz, thank you. Thank you. And, you know, I pardoned somebody named Scooter Libby. A lot of you don't know who Scooter Libby is. Scooter Libby is a man that got treated very unfairly. And Liz was right in the forefront of that one. And I said, what do you think, Liz? And you said, absolutely, he deserves it. And it's been a very popular pardon. He was treated very, very brutally and unfairly. So thank you for that help.
Well, happening today, the White House will host a social media summit, allowing those who have made claims of censorship against tech giants to talk about the challenges of the online platforms. Founder of Turning Point USA and author of Campus Battlefield, How Conservatives Can Win the Battle on Campus and Why It Matters, Charlie Kirk will be there, and he joins us now with a preview. Charlie, what's happening today, and what's the point of this? What's the goal at the White House?
Well, it's a massive issue, and I have to applaud the White House and the president for putting on this forum. And, you know, your show has covered this really, really well, talking about how these tech companies are engaging in suppression of conservative ideas, whether it be putting videos on the restricted list on YouTube, whether it be labeling conservative thinkers and pundits incorrectly, whether it be Facebook going after Diamond and Silk. These isolated incidents, if you will, are now patterns of silencing and suppression expression. And you look at going into 2020, this is a major issue. Millions of Americans are going to be making, hopefully, informed choices on how they're going to vote. But if these tech companies are going to be acting in ways that are misrepresenting true information, then you might have people actually acting based on false information from these tech companies.
Now, Charlie, those tech giants from Google to Facebook to Twitter were not invited. Should they not be a part of this conversation?
Well, look, I can't speak to that. I wasn't involved in the planning there, but I can say this. I think it's good that the focus will be on the individuals that have been suppressed by these tech companies. And it's important to remember that Google has been invited multiple times to participate on hearings on Capitol Hill. They've shown up sometimes, and you remember that empty seat about 9 months ago where they decided not to show up to an oversight hearing about data and privacy and these sorts of issues. And look, the tech companies have had their opportunity to try to explain these things away for years, but I think it's good that the White House is giving a chance to let these stories to go unfiltered of what's really going on, how these videos are being restricted and demonetized, so on and so forth.
Well, and Charlie, you talk about these stories that you yourself have personally been the target of social media suppression. Tell us what's happened to you.
So I did a series of videos for the great organization Prager University. And actually, it's so funny, is the video I did was about how college campuses need to be more open to other ideas, essentially allowing the freedom of speech and freedom of expression, calling college campuses islands of ideological totalitarianism. And that video, in the most ironic twist, was put on the restricted list by YouTube. Go figure. So the video talking about how we need to be more open-minded and allowing other ideas is somehow labeled on the restricted list by YouTube. Over 100 videos of the sort by Prager University were put on the restricted list on YouTube. You have to think, what on earth would compel YouTube to do that? Not to mention the soft censorship that's happening, where you go to Twitter, anyone can go to Twitter, and especially me, you go to politics, you go on YouTube, the suggested reads and tweets are almost all leftist politicians. The bias has to stop. You have to allow freedom of speech to exist on these platforms for the good of the country.
All right, Charlie, thanks very much. By the way, we reached out to Twitter, Facebook, and Google and really have no comment that they gave us. Charlie, thanks very much. Good luck today.